everyone. I decided to start just a little bit early, so I do apologize, but welcome. I hope everyone's day is going good. I'm gonna wait for a couple people to pop on, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start. Just gonna wait a few more seconds. Oh, my bad. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. I did take a lot of notes, so I'm hoping everything goes according to plan. If I go a little too fast or you have a question, please let me know. I'd love to answer all of your guys' questions as I go or as I try. So first I wanted to start out with a question. What is a familiar? Is it a pet? Is it a spirit? Is it both? And just try to really think about it, because I'd like to see what you guys come up with. Also, please don't mind me looking down all the time. I actually have my sweet baby here. His name is Parsley, and he is currently stuck in my hair. As you see him just kind of intertwine in my hair. Okay, so I did want to go ahead and start. So familiars are actually a conscious entity. It is a concise entity that can embody an animal or take form of one. So basically, you can't go to a pet store and get a baby, like my sweet baby here, that's using my hair as a rope. Basically, you can't go to a pet store and be like, hey, I'm gonna get this cat, or hey, I'm gonna get this dog, hamster, whatever, and that's my familiar. So it doesn't work like that. When I first started, I thought it worked like that too, but sadly it does not. So a little bit about familiars, and I'm gonna go into their history. It's not gonna be too in-depth, but just like a little bit. So the history of familiars is they were based in European folklore and medieval folklore. My bad. So their spirits and are also known by familiars, or spiritual, supernatural entities. I am so sorry. I'm getting tongue twisted today. They were believed to help witches and cunning folk in their practice, and they are also, excuse you, are you done? I love my hair back. I'm sorry. They're also known, as imps. So, in folklore, medieval folklore, they were known as imps, they were known as demons, they were known kind of as a guide for witches, but it kind of changed when the Salem witch trials happened, and it also changed when everybody started doing witch hunts. In Western demonology, they were also known as the lowest ranking demon, given to one by Satan himself. Or you had it as like another witch gave it to you. Which kind of started the whole thing of, well, I saw her familiar do this, this, and this, which actually got a lot of innocent people killed, especially during the Salem witch trials. So if you haven't already, please go watch Kathy's lives on the Salem witch trials, as she talks a little bit, not too much, but she does talk about familiars. The forms that they would take, or they were accused of taking, were toads, dogs, insects, black cats, and the yellow bird. But sometimes they would also be associated with bats, or any other animal associated with bad luck. So, like my parsley here. Back in those days, it was highly uncommon for people to be seen with snakes and toads and things like that, as they were accused of doing witchcraft and things of that sort. So, it was actually really, really bad. So, that's just a little bit of history on them. So as I said, they weren't really good things to have around back in those days, but, they were just kind of guides for witch folk, really. How they help us is they help us in the craft, like protecting us from dark arts, astral projecting. They aid in magical journeys on astral realms. They help with spells, making them stronger, or even physical healing. Just as any entity, really, you want to show them the amount of respect as you would a deity. So, because they are very old beings, and they carry a lot of wisdom with them, and you can have as many as you'd like. It really depends on your spiritual path and where you're at in it. For beginners, I would not recommend trying to contact your familiar or trying to get in contact with any familiar of that sort. Only because, like I said, your spiritual path is just beginning. A lot of people will try to contact them as soon as possible, and I hate to say it, but you can actually get hurt that way, because they're not ready for you to contact them. They're not ready for you to work with them. So it just kind of goes in hand as, you know, if you're not ready, don't do it. Each familiar you have will always teach you or show you different things depending on what you're trying to do, especially in your craft. So let's talk about long while and short while familiars. So short while familiars could be anywhere from a bird in the wild to a cat in your house that's, you know, lived with you for years and years and years. But, like I said, it depends on what they're trying to teach you. So your long whiles could be more like docile, as I said, you know, the cat that's lived with you for years, or the dog, or, you know, whatever pet you may have. And they're trying to teach you, for example, one could be showing you, you know, not to be so edgy all the time and just have some fun. Like, that would be a long while, because, like me, I'm very anxious when it comes to seeing people on screen or having somebody watch me. As I am now, I'm kind of very anxious. I'm not even gonna lie. But, you know, say my familiar could also be saying, hey, it's okay to get out in front of people. It's okay to speak out in front of people. And that would be kind of like a long-term partnership, because it could always, you know, go hand in hand with, well, hey, you need to show yourself some more love, or you need to give yourself some more consideration for, you know, you just stepping out there. So a short while could be, you know, teaching you ways to cope with minor things, like oh, well, he did you dirty or something like that, and you kind of have a grudge against it, your familiar could help you with, like, hey, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth your tears. It's not really worth, anything like that. So that's kind of what I think about while having a short-term familiar versus a long-term familiar. Or one could teach you how to better control certain things, like a newfound power or something like that. And again, it just depends on your spiritual path and where you're at in it. So I also wanted to talk about sizes. So size does not matter with familiars. They could be as small as a ladybug to as big as parsley here. Hi, Sarah Lee. I see 2 people are watching, but sadly I can't see who exactly is watching. But your name just popped up, and I do apologize. Hello to the other person as well. So back to what I was saying, size does not matter to them because it doesn't show how strong they are. So, for instance, my sweet baby boy right here could sit there and be a 2,000-year-old familiar, but he's a pretty good size, snake, or they could be a little ladybug, but they could, have more power than that. They do it for your convenience. They do it for, how they can closely get to you in a way. And again, I do apologize for popping anybody's bubble. This will probably be the one thing that I repeat over and over in this live. You cannot pick your familiars. Your familiars pick you. You cannot go to a pet store or even go outside and think, oh, well, just because this cat's coming up to me, it could be my familiar. Well, sadly, no. It does not work like that. You never know exactly what familiar you're going to get until you get it. So, say this cat just came up to me outside and I'm like, ooh, it could be my familiar. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, but no. One thing that I do know is if you have food or anything like that, or, the animal could just be people friendly, those are things that you can kind of look out for to, just be like, hey, okay, maybe this isn't my familiar. And not only that, but one thing that is really, really hard to distinguish is if, like, say you're out in the wild and a deer comes up to you. Well, if you don't have any food in your pocket or anything like that, there's a good chance that it could be your familiar. But I usually go by the rule of 3. If I'm not doing anything or provoking it or calling it in any way, if I don't have any food in my pocket or something like that, and it comes up to me 3 different times as I'm, working or doing something outside, or say, for instance, a deer comes up and it's the same deer popping up every single time, then I would consider that your familiar. Another great way to distinguish whether an animal is your familiar or not is their energy. Obviously, all animals do have energy, but familiars have a certain type of energy that'll help kind of shift yours in a way. They will also tend to do unanimalistic things. They will sometimes take an animal form, yes, but they'll show you, like, hey, I'm not your average animal. I don't feel like your average animal. And things like that. So, another thing is you don't want your animal or your pet or your fur baby or anything like that to be your familiar. Because familiars go through a lot and they are your protectors. Some will even die trying to protect you from dark arts, such as hexes or curses or something like that. If they're up to that power, they can die also from spiritual attacks and things like that. So that's another big difference between your pet and your familiar. Again, like I said, just like any other entities like deities, they have the abilities to decide to work with you. So maybe you're ready to work with them, but maybe they're not quite ready to work with you. It all depends on them. You can't just ask your pet to be your familiar again because they seem really interested in your craft, because it could be that they're just magically inclined. So the differences between your familiar and a magically inclined pet is, magically inclined pets like to watch you or be near you during your magical workings. Especially if, I am so sorry, my dogs are going off. Tanjiro! Enough! I think he sees another dog. I'm so sorry, guys. Or they'll be just like, hey, what are you doing? That would be a magically inclined animal. Versus a familiar, they are with you all the times in every single magical working. Again, they are a conscious being. They are spiritually independent and can protect you from hexes, strengthen your spells, and they bring wisdom. They can also take you to different planes and other magical places and guide you through them. So, I also wanted to add, I am so sorry, I'm just flipping through my notes. They will try to tell you with their energy or even do things with their physical body to try to tell you or even completely interrupt your workings for, like, hey, there's something wrong, or hey, I don't think you should be doing that just yet. Versus, my cat, sometimes he'll get over and he'll just like, what are you doing? Can I watch? Versus a familiar will try to stop you. So another thing that I've noticed, especially in the community, is people try to kind of force their pets to be their familiars, and, or they think that, hey, my cat's doing this, so it's my familiar. Sadly, your familiar and your animals are completely different. And I cannot stress that enough. I had one girl that I used to be in contact with that made her cat go to her with the spiritual realm. And that cat died a couple of days later because something happened and it didn't go well. So please, 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 if you don't know if your cat is your familiar or not, please don't try to force them to do anything that they don't want to. Especially guide you. There are just so many things that can go wrong, and so many, it in a way, it's really, really bad, to try to force your animal to be your familiar. Although it'd be very neat, and half the time some pets are your familiars, but if you don't feel like a certain energy around them, or you don't feel like they are, please don't force them to be. And that's a lot of the confusion that's happening in the community as well. And it goes the same with your familiar. If your familiar doesn't want to do a certain working, or they don't want to participate in a certain, realm, please don't make them. It could be outside of their power. It could be outside of, something that they're comfortable with. And a lot of the times that's also how your familiar can die. So please, please don't force your animal or your familiar to do something that they're not ready to do. So now I want to talk about how they try to contact you. They can come to you in a dream. They can come to you on an astral plane or in their physical bodies. But again, normally you don't go to them. They'll come to you. But if you do want to try to get its attention, you can try to get its attention by getting in your protected space and meditate until you see the entity's form in front of you. Now, I know a lot of us can't necessarily meditate, or we have a hard time doing so. So you can try and ask them to join you in your craft, even though it's harder to do and it's not always going to be a 100% thing. You can also try by lucid dreaming. So, later on in the video, around when I go to end it, I will actually explain, how to lucid dream to meet your familiar. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. How to tell they want to work with you. So animals are going to be animals. So say you have food out and animals keep coming to you, well, it's because the food's there. And say you're walking in, one of them comes up to you. It might just be people friendly, like I said, or familiar. Usually, again, you can feel its energy, versus a normal animal. So, they can also manifest in a physical form, but it's kind of, like I said, it's energy based at that point. I remember when I first started trying to work with familiars, I got every single one wrong. They were actually just pets. So it's kind of, tricky, but once you get the hang of it down, you got it. How they aid us, they can help us raise energies. You can ask them to run errands on a non-physical realm that they're okay with doing, and things like that. So, like I said, you can't really find your familiar. They normally come to you, and things like that. So, little thing on why I have parsley here. I was actually at a expo, and I wasn't looking to get anything. I was looking to breed my leopard gecko Alzy, and something just kept pulling me towards the snakes and pulling me towards, this little one here. So, I didn't know why. To me, it felt like a burning, itching sensation that I have to go see it. I have to have it. I have to, it wasn't just aw, such a cute puppy, I'm gonna get it. No, this was more of a, hey, poking, like I said, a burning, itchy, feeling. And like I said, I wasn't looking to get anything. I was just looking for breeders. And then I found my sweet parsley. Funny thing with him, he will get out of his cage just to get in my hand. He will try to push through his cage just to get to me. Not only that, but he has to be there every single day. He will literally sit there and will not get off of his thermometers until he's in my room. So his energy, the way I feel it, it's more of like a calming sensation. It's more of a, hey, you need to get this done, and you need to get it done within this time manner. There's a certain energy that he has versus, my dog, Tanjiro or Shoto, or any of my animals at that fact. So that's like I said, that's a way that you can tell whether it's just a pet or a familiar. Whenever I am reading a book or something like that that's not mundane, he has to be there. But again, I do not force him to do anything that he does not want to. So there was a book that I used to have, but I did not agree with his logic on them. It's Folk Witch by Roger De Horn. He does talk about familiars, but he tries to mix them in with the Fae, which, in my opinion, is kind of like a no-no. Because I do work with the Fae very intuitively, I guess you would say. And for me, it's just, like, you can't expect a familiar to be a Fae spirit, because they're two totally separate entities. So it was just kind of a turnoff for me, especially in the familiar department. And that's all I can describe of it. It was kind of like a, no, that's not right in my opinion. And it could be totally different in yours. It really all just depends on you guys. So those were all the notes that I had for familiars today. So I will get into the lucid dreaming part of it. I'm not too sure if anybody has been commenting on the video or not. I just see that somebody's watching and I haven't seen anything pop up on my screen. So if you have any questions, I promise I will get to them after the video, because I can't see them. So lucid dreaming to find your familiar. Lucid dreaming usually involves a full mind and body awareness, as well as visualization skills to bring yourself into a dream state to accomplish tasks in the spiritual realm that you cannot do in the physical realm. Like with many disciplines, it is a learned technique and can only be developed with practice and ongoing practice. For those of us witches who are on the quest to finding our animal familiars, this can also be done through lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a very effective way to connect with these guides regularly on the astral plane. While learning how to lucid dream, it is important to have some criteria to go off of so that you are aware of steps and the concentration that it takes. So before you do lucid dreaming, prepare the atmosphere of your home to be quiet and peaceful so that the relaxation flows naturally. Smudge the energy of the room with sage or incense and visualize the room as an atmosphere that is calming and filled with the healing energy of nature. Put your dream journal next to your bed and any other objects that are sacred to you. Set your alarm off to go off in 1 or 2 hours from when you start so that you can reflect on your dream and journal your experience right away. Another caution, before I go too deeper into the lucid dreaming, please, guys, please be careful. I had one lucid dream that was horrible. I had something chasing me that should have never been there. I was actually trying to get in contact with a deity and I ended up somewhere else. And something was chasing me. And I woke up with several scratches, bruises, and things like that. So please, guys, please be careful. If you feel that something is not right, immediately try to wake up. Try to pull yourself back to your physical body and try to wake up. Because it is possible that you can get stuck in the astral realm or the lucid dreaming world. And it is not a fun experience. So please, guys, please be careful. I cannot stress that enough. So I'm going to continue. I forgot where I left off. I'm sorry. And filled with the healing energy of nature. So you can prepare for the lucid dreaming process beforehand by resting your body and relaxing your mind. Start by taking 10 breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Allow your stress to melt away with each exhaling. The process clears the mind and allows contact between you and your familiar to start taking place. So step 1, you're going to lay down and get comfortable. Rest your eyes like you would, go to sleep. If you hold your awareness at the point just before falling asleep, this is considered to be the start of the lucid dream. Step 2, now you have entered the lucid dreaming state. Begin to drift into a dream of your own making. For the purpose of finding your familiar, focus your dream on a natural habitat that you are immediately drawn to and begin to observe this natural habitat or what it looks like. Focus on the smells, the sounds, or even, if it's a forest, imagine the leaves crunching under your feet. Things like that. So, again, begin your experience by moving around in this habitat, walking around, getting the earthy smells, getting, hearing the lakes and streams, things like that. So see how it feels to you. Like I said, if it starts to go sour, please, please, please try to wake up. I cannot stress that enough. When I first started, lucid dreaming was very dangerous for me. Because, again, I had something chasing me and I was in the wrong realm. Or in the wrong, lucid dreaming state, per se. So, if you see that it's not, it's not right, something doesn't feel right, try to get out of it. Because normally, from what you think is just a feeling, it'll go sour real quick. So, step 3, you're going to wait and continue observing your habitat until you see signs of your familiar around you. Ask aloud for your familiar to reveal itself to you. If you notice any new sounds or any new sights or smells, that's normally that they have entered into your lucid dream. If an animal shows itself to you, consider it a sign to ask if it's your familiar. If the answer is no, be patient and try again. If the answer is yes, prepare to ask some questions. Take a moment to ponder what these questions might be. Consider this likened to an opportunity of meeting a good friend after many years apart. Feel some excitement about the reunion, because like I said, they're very old. They are very ancient and wise entities, just like your deities. So please try to show them the respect as you would any of your deities. So step 5, ask them how they would like to work with you, and listen closely to their response. Should you have any magical workings that need doing in your life, this would be a good time to try asking them if they will assist you with them. Listen closely to their response and integrate it into your mind. As I stated previously, each familiar will show you different things. It could be a short-term goal or it could be a long-term goal. It all depends on you and your familiar. Excuse you, I am trying to do this, sir. I'm sorry, guys. Step 6, whenever you feel the mission of your lucid dream is complete and you're ready to say your farewells, honor your familiar with a bow or a hug and give thanks to them for their presence in your life. Begin to do Om reality checks. Imagine your body laying on your bed in your home and ask yourself for permission to wake up from this dream. Wiggle your fingers and shake your arms to get signal to your body to return when it's to its normal waking state. So when you're completing your lucid dream, and you are confident that you have met your animal familiar or have received answers to your questions, then the rest is up to you to see how you prefer to end your lucid dream. Some may prefer to wake up after lucid dreaming to journal their experience while it's still fresh in their minds, while others may prefer to drift right to sleep and journal about it in the following morning. Keep in mind that within 5 minutes of waking from your dream memory is already reduced by 50%. So consider journaling immediately after and go from there. Remember that practice is absolutely essential to connecting with your familiar on a regular basis. You can repeat this entire process at any time you want to meet your familiar again and do magical workings with them in the spiritual realm. That's pretty much all I have for familiars. Like I said, if you guys do have any questions or comments, sadly I cannot see them, so I can always answer them after. So that's pretty much all I have for familiars. So I will kind of introduce myself now, which I should have done at the beginning. So hi guys, I'm one of the new crones. My name is Serenity. I have been practicing for a little bit now. I was on and off of my practice for 4 years, and now I am fully on my practice. So I have been practicing for a total of 8 years now. I also do a lot of spiritual workings, a lot with the Fae, familiars, kitsunes, things like that. I guess you could say I'm a folk witch in a way. I guess you could identify me as, now that I'm actually thinking about it. I am also soon to be married. I have 1 snake, 3 leopard geckos, and 2 dogs. Sorry. And I also am studying to be a vet. I just figured I'd give you guys a basic introduction. That way, for those of you who don't know me, well, now you do. And those of you that do, you know, hi. So that's pretty much it for this live. I appreciate your guys' time and you guys watching me. I truly do. So thank you guys again, and I will see you later, my mystical sisters. Blessed be, guys. Oh no, I can't get the, oh no.